we see it say, so God created man in his own image. What is the image of God?
Fantastic question. Josh, thoughts?
Now you gotta throw it straight to me.
Throw it straight away.
Well, my understanding is like, well, we're if we're made in the image of God, we're made in His likeness. Like,
Great, you're using synonyms.
yeah, yeah, I know. I'm not actually answering the question. I could be an excellent politician. No. There was one I remember as a kid thinking, well, if we put if like the image of God, well, if we gathered every single human being on earth, we mush them all together. That's what if we somehow overlaid everyone's face, if that and we were able to get everyone's as a reference point and sort of generate one image based off everyone on earth. That's what God would look like. That's what I sort of would
So you're going a real physical image here.
Yes, and that's as being younger, that's what I thought sort of in my adult years. Now thinking about it, well, to me it sounds more metaphorical than it's literally we are one to one of God, if that makes sense. So it's possibly well, seeing as how God rules over all of us, we are commanded to be rulers over this earth.
Well, nice.
So we're sort of there's that parallel image of the two.
That's a lot better than your childhood answer of
Yeah.
It's a physical face if we mushed them all together. This is an ongoing debate amongst Christian theologians about what the image of God is. Start off with 3 essential things that we all agree on, and then I'll present 3 different views. So firstly, we all agree that every single human is made in the image of God, regardless of gender or race or status. Every human is made in the image of God. And I want us to take a moment to actually appreciate that fact. The history of humanity is a history of degrading others, pretending they're not human so that you can conquer them or enslave them or do whatever the heck you want to them. And the Bible opens with the very first mention of humanity by giving all of us inherent value. That is earth-shaking, that is groundbreaking. I don't think we appreciate enough what that means for a worldview. Anyway, firstly, every human.
We're all equal.
Yeah. Second, sin has impacted this image in some way, negatively impacted this image some way. And third, Jesus Christ was/is the true image of God. So those are 3 things about the image of God that are non-negotiables we all agree on before we then need to unpack and understand exactly what it means. Any questions about those 3 before I present potentially 3 different views?
Well, do we actually all agree on it?
Yeah, that's probably a good place to start.
Yeah.
Morgan's just nodding very, I don't want to say aggressively because it's not aggressive.
Yes.
Very much agrees.
No, I agree with that. Yeah.
Yeah, great. One of the most common ways of understanding the image of God is structurally. That is that there is some kind of capacity we have that gives us the image of God. Now, that has often been said rational thought, moral agency, self-determinism, the ability to view ourselves as an I. Often people say that it's some sort of structural capacity we have. I think that view cannot be true. And I think it cannot be true because you can always find examples of animals that have some element of that, or you could find humans that don't have it. So a baby doesn't yet have the ability for rational thought or moral agency. Certain mentally disabled people do not have those abilities. And yet, as Christians, we affirm wholeheartedly that they are made in the image of God. So I don't think it can be a structural thing. The second view is the functional view, which is that the image of God is actually a role that has been given to us. So if we look at the text, immediately after saying that we are created in God's own image, it says in verse 28 that God blessed them and said to them, "Be fruitful and increase in number, fill the earth and subdue it, rule over the fish in the sea and the birds in the sky and over every living creature that moves on the ground." I think, and I and many others think that immediately upon saying, "Let's make mankind in our image," God then defines what that means in that next verse. The image of God is a role that we've been given. As God rules over the universe, he appoints us as representatives of him, as images of him, to rule over the earth. I think this works well in the ancient context because other cultures often referred to their kings and their priests as in the image of God, and that was that they were God's representatives. You had to listen to them because they represented Ra or they represented whoever. However, God is saying every human represents him and has the role to rule over creation. The kind of third option is kind of comes mostly from the fact that immediately upon saying mankind's created in his image, he says he made them male and female. And so this is sort of the relational option, which is that humans have some type of inherent necessity of having relationships, and that is essential for the way we go about life. That represents God in the way that he is a trinity and is also a relational being. There's something about being in relationship and the fact that we were made as a male and female that comes together to give us an image of God and necessitates having relationships. Now, I've kind of already played all my cards and suggested that I think it is that second one. It is that role that we've been given, but I'm happy to stop talking now and hear opinions and thoughts from others.
Yeah, I agree. What do you think, Josh?
Well, agree with which one? Because he gave three differing.
The second one.
The second one of the ruling.
Yeah.
I would also agree that the image is also what God dictates of how we should sort of act of as he is sovereign, the sovereignty of God ruling over all of creation. We are also ruling over what he has given us. What's interesting, I agree with that, but what's interesting is it's in the image of God. God is the original, and the image is a representation of that. It's not we are God,
No,
or
definitely not.
we are gods in any sort of capacity or form. If you take an image of anything, it is not the original thing. You have made a copy of it, but it's not the original. So I think it's also interesting to and sort of a point to make of we are representing God in it, but we are not God. God is still
Definitely
God.
not. Yeah.
Yeah, I think we all sort of think it's more probably that second one that you said.